The bass hit my chest before I understood what it was. I thought it was my heart. That's the thing about getting old. Every strange thump, every flutter, every skip makes you wonder if this is the moment your body finally gives up on you. So I lay there in the dark, hand flat against my ribs, counting beats like I'd learned from the pamphlet at Drive. Chen's office. Then came the laughter. High, sharp, careless. And I knew. Hello. My name is Nora Miller. I'm 70 years old, and I live in a small 2-story house in Somerville, Massachusetts. I've been here 38 years now. Long enough to watch the maple tree in my front yard grow from a sapling to something that blocks the streetlight. Long enough to bury a husband, raise a son, and learn that silence is sometimes the loudest sound in a house. I'm telling you this story because I think you might need to hear it. Or maybe I need to tell it. Either way, here we are. That night, I slid my feet into my slippers. The left one has a hole near the toe. I keep meaning to replace them. I pulled my blue robe tight. It's the color of faded denim, soft from years of washing. Derek bought it for me. My husband. He's been gone 11 years now. I started down the stairs. The smell hit me first. Not food. Not cigarettes. Something sharper. Chemical. Wrong. It came from the guest room where my granddaughter Bella had been staying for 2 weeks. She'd shown up on my porch with a suitcase and red-rimmed eyes, talking about toxic roommates and needing space to breathe. She's 19. Everything is either toxic or amazing at 19. I didn't look in that room. Not yet. I turned the corner into my living room and stopped. There were 6 of them. Maybe 7. Bella sprawled on my couch, a red plastic cup in her hand. A boy with green hair dancing by the window like he owned the night. 2 girls on my floor, howling at something on a phone. Empty bottles on my coffee table. Beer rings soaking into the wood. My ceramic lamp, the one Derek gave me for our 20th anniversary, lying on its side. Cracked clean down the middle. And my granddaughter waved at me like I was furniture that had suddenly learned to walk. "Grandma, you're up," she smiled. That smile I used to love. "Turn it off," I said. My voice sounded thin, lost in my own house. "Chill," she said, standing up. Swaying a little. "It's just a small thing. We're celebrating." "Celebrating what?" She shrugged. "Life?" I looked at the lamp. At the rug. At the stranger passed out in my kitchen doorway. "You said 2 friends," I told her. "It's past midnight. That's not illegal," she shot back. "I didn't say illegal. I said it's my house." That's when the knocking started. Let me tell you something about myself. I've spent 70 years being what people needed me to be. A good daughter. A patient wife. A supportive mother. A forgiving grandmother. I learned early that smoothing things over was easier than standing my ground. That keeping peace was worth more than keeping dignity. When Bella crashed my car 2 years ago, I paid for the tow and told the insurance company it was my fault. When money went missing from my purse, I pretended I'd miscounted. When my son Paul called and said Bella needed a place to stay, I made up the guest bed without asking why. That's what good grandmothers do. Right? But that night, standing in my living room surrounded by strangers and broken things, something shifted. Like a door that had been stuck for years suddenly swinging open. The knocking came again. Heavy. Official. Blue and red lights pulsed against my neighbor's fence. Bella's face went white. If you called the cops, I didn't call anyone, I said. She stumbled toward the door, trying to smooth her hair. Don't say anything, she hissed. Let me handle this. I stood in my own hallway like a guest. She opened the door. 2 officers. One young, one older. Both with that tired patience I've seen on teachers and nurses and women at the DMV. Whose house is this? The older one asked. Bella pointed back at me. My grandma's. Ma'am, can we speak with you? I stepped forward. Yes. We've had a noise complaint, he explained. Neighbors also mentioned possible illegal substances. Do you know these individuals? I looked at them. The green-haired boy. The girls on my floor. The stranger in my kitchen. Bella watching me with that familiar look. The one that said cover for me. Fix this. Be the grandmother I need you to be. They're my granddaughter's friends, I said. They weren't invited. Her head snapped toward me. Grandma, she told me she'd have 2 people over, I continued. I didn't agree to a party. The younger officer nodded. His name tag said Daniels. We'll need to ask everyone to leave. And we may need to search the premises if there's cause. You can't search my grandma's house. Bella's voice went high. Panicked. Actually, the older officer said calmly, if we suspect illegal activity, we can. And ma'am, he turned to me, gentler now, if you didn't invite them, you're within your rights to ask us to proceed. I stood there. For a moment, I was back in every other crisis. Every lie I'd told to protect her. Every mess I'd cleaned. Every excuse I'd made. I should have said it was fine. That they were just kids. That I'd handle it. Instead, I looked at my broken lamp. At the wet rings on my table. At my granddaughter, who had stopped seeing me as a person years ago. You can proceed, I said. Bella stared at me like I'd slapped her. You can't be serious, she whispered. But I was. For the first time in a very long time, I was completely serious. The officers began asking everyone for identification. The green-haired boy tried to leave. They stopped him. One of the girls started crying. Bella stood frozen, her red cup still in her hand. I walked to my kitchen. Stepped over the stranger on my floor. Put the kettle on. My hands shook. But my voice, when I'd spoken, had not. That was something. They found the bag behind my couch. Small. Clear. Full of white powder. Bella swore it wasn't hers. One of her friends said he'd seen her with it earlier. Officer Daniels came to find me in the kitchen. Ma'am, we're going to need to take your granddaughter in for questioning. I nodded. Are you all right? I looked at him. Young. Maybe 30. Probably someone's son. I will be, I said. They let her out in the gray light of 3 a.m. She turned back once, her face twisted with something I'd never seen directed at me before. Pure anger. Pure betrayal. You're not my grandmother, she spat. The door closed. I stood in my kitchen, listening to the car pull away, and waited for the guilt to crush me. It didn't come. Instead, there was only silence. And in that silence, something that felt almost like relief. I didn't sleep that night. I cleaned, picked up cups, wiped tables, swept glitter from my floor. At 4 a.m., I took out my grocery notebook and wrote October 12th. I finally stopped making excuses. I underlined it twice. Then I sat at my kitchen table, drinking tea from the mug with the chipped handle, and waited for whatever came next. I had no idea, then, what that would cost me. Or what it would give me back. After they took her, the house went quiet. Not peaceful quiet. The kind of quiet that presses against your ears. Makes you aware of your own breathing. Your own heartbeat. Your own thoughts, which are suddenly much louder than you'd like them to be. I stood in my kitchen for a long time. The kettle had gone cold. The stranger they'd carried out had left muddy footprints on my linoleum. I stared at those prints and thought, this is what my life has become. Cleaning up after people who don't even know my middle name. It's Eleanor, by the way. Nora Eleanor Miller. My mother named me after her grandmother, a woman who apparently never took nonsense from anyone. I wish I'd inherited more than just her name. I started cleaning at 3:47 a.m. Not because I wanted to. Because I didn't know what else to do with my hands. I picked up every cup. Every bottle. Every cigarette butt someone had crushed into my grandmother's china dish. The one I keep on the mantel. The one that survived 2 world wars and a cross-Atlantic journey, only to become an ashtray for teenagers who thought my house was a hotel. The ceramic lamp was beyond saving. I wrapped the pieces in newspaper and placed them in the trash. Gently, like I was burying something. I suppose I was. The rug would need professional cleaning. Or burning. I hadn't decided yet. By 5 a.m., the living room looked almost normal. If you didn't know what had happened, you might think it was just another Tuesday morning in Somerville. But I knew. And knowing changes everything. The first call came at 6:15. I was making toast. Not because I was hungry. Because the routine of it, bread, butter, plate, felt like something I could control. Unknown number. I answered. Grandma? Bella's voice. Hoarse. Small. Yes. They let me go. No charges. Yet. They said I need to come back for more questioning. I spread butter on my toast. Watched it melt into the bread. Did you hear me? She pressed. I heard you. Silence. Then, can you come get me? I set down my knife. No. What? I said, no, Bella. I'm at the police station. I don't have money for an Uber. My phone's almost dead. You can't just. I can, I said quietly. And I am. This is insane. Her voice cracked. I didn't do anything wrong. Those weren't my drugs. You know me, Grandma. You know I wouldn't. I don't know you, I said. The words surprised me as much as they surprised her. I thought I did. But the girl I knew wouldn't have turned my home into a crime scene. It wasn't a crime scene until you made it one. I took a bite of my toast. Chewed. Swallowed. Goodbye, Bella. Grandma, wait. I hung up. My hand trembled as I set the phone down. But only a little. The second call came at 8:30. Paul. My son. Bella's father. I knew before I answered that this wouldn't be a pleasant conversation. Paul has never been good with difficult emotions. He inherited that from Derek. Whenever things got complicated, they both preferred to look the other way and hope someone else would handle it. That someone was usually me. Mom, what the hell is going on? No hello. No good morning. Just accusations. Good morning, Paul, I said. I was watering my spider plant. It's been with me longer than most of my relationships. Bella says you called the cops on her. The neighbors called. I just didn't lie for her. She's 19, Mom. 19. Do you remember what I was like at 19? Yes. I remembered. I remembered paying off his credit card debt. Twice. I remembered the DUI I never told Derek about. I remembered all of it. I remember, I said. Then you know kids make mistakes. This wasn't a mistake, Paul. This was a choice. Multiple choices. She chose to throw a party. She chose to bring strangers into my home. She chose to lie to me. You could have handled it differently. Called her parents. Kicked everyone out. You didn't have to involve the police. I didn't involve them. They were already there. And you let them search your house? Search her things? I set down the watering can. She brought drugs into my home, Paul. My home. Where I sleep. Where I live. Where I'm supposed to feel safe. She says they weren't hers. And you believe that? He went quiet. I heard him breathing. Heavy. Frustrated. She's your granddaughter, he finally said. Doesn't that mean anything? It means everything, I answered. That's why I stopped protecting her from consequences. Because clearly, my protection hasn't helped her. It's enabled her. Enabled her? Jesus, Mom. You sound like a therapist. Maybe I should have seen one years ago. Another silence. Longer this time. What do you want me to do? He asked. She can't come here. Lisa and I are already dealing with. I didn't ask you to take her, I interrupted. I didn't ask you for anything. When was the last time I asked you for anything, Paul? He didn't answer. That's what I thought, I said softly. Goodbye, son. I hung up before he could respond. I sat at my kitchen table for a long time after that call. The morning light came through the window, casting shadows across the wood. I traced them with my finger, thinking about all the years I'd spent being convenient, being reliable, being the soft place everyone landed when they fell. I walked to the drawer by the stairs, the one with the emergency cash. 2 weeks ago, I'd put $100 bill in there. Just in case Bella needs something, I'd told myself. I took out the envelope. Opened it. The bill was crisp. Green. I stared at it. Then I tore it in half. And again. And again. Until it was nothing but confetti in my garbage can. It felt like freedom. That afternoon, I made a list. Not a grocery list. Not a to-do list. A different kind of list. I wrote down every account with my name on it. Every automatic transfer. Every person who had access to my money, my home, my life. The list was longer than I'd expected. Paul was on my checking account. Just in case something happens to you, Mom. That's what he'd said. I'd added him 5 years ago. Bella had a key to my house. Had for 3 years. My will left everything split between Paul and Bella. Everything I'd worked for. Everything Derek and I had saved. I looked at that list and saw my whole life laid out in columns. Years of trust. Years of giving. Years of believing that family meant sacrifice without boundaries. But what had it gotten me? A broken lamp. A stained rug. A granddaughter who called me a traitor. I picked up a pen. Next to Paul's name, I wrote remove. Next to Bella's name, remove. Next to my will change. My hand was steady now. That night, I didn't eat dinner. I wasn't hungry. Instead, I sat in my living room, the clean one, the one that looked almost normal, and listened to the silence. The phone rang twice more. Bella. I didn't answer. Paul texted, we need to talk about this. You're overreacting. I didn't respond. At 9 p.m., I took out my notebook again. The grocery one with the blue cover. And beneath my earlier entry, I wrote I am not overreacting. I am finally reacting. Then I added tomorrow, I go to the bank. Then the lawyer. Then I take back my life. I closed the notebook. Got up. Made tea. and for the first time in weeks, slept through the night. The next morning, I woke up at 6 a.m. Earlier than usual, but I had appointments to make. And a life to reclaim. The bank opened at 9 a.m. I was there at 8:47. Standing outside Middlesex Federal Credit Union, I watched my reflection in the glass door. An old woman in a gray coat. Sensible shoes. Purse clutched tight against her chest. I looked exactly like what I was. Scared. Determined. Both at once. The security guard unlocked the door at 8:59. Smiled at me. "Early bird," he said. I smiled back. Didn't correct him. I wasn't early. I was finally on time. Clara at the customer service desk had kind eyes. Mid-30s. Wedding ring. Photos of twin boys on her desk. "How can I help you today, Mrs. Miller?" I sat down. Put my folder on her desk. The one with all my account information. "I need to remove my son from my checking account," I said. She blinked. Just once. Then her face went professional. "Of course. Do you have your account number?" I slid the paper across to her. "And I need to cancel an automatic transfer," I added. $300. Goes to my granddaughter every month." Clara typed. Clicked. Typed again. "Is there a reason for these changes?" she asked carefully. "Sometimes we see this with family disputes. I want to make sure I'm not being pressured," I said. "I'm not confused. I'm 70, not incapable." She looked up. Something softened in her expression. "I didn't mean to imply, I know." I folded my hands in my lap. "But I need you to understand. These are my decisions. Mine. For the first time in a very long time." She nodded slowly. "Give me about 15 minutes," she said. "I'll process everything." I sat back in my chair. 15 minutes. That's all it took to undo 5 years of financial access. Strange, how quickly you can change things when you finally decide to. The lawyer's office was downtown. Jonathan Pierce. Derek's college friend. He'd handled our wills 20 years ago. His office smelled like leather and old books. Comforting. Solid. "Nora," he said, standing to shake my hand. "It's been too long. I was sorry to hear about Derek." 11 years now, I said. "Time moves strangely, doesn't it?" "Yes. It does. Especially when you spend most of it standing still." I sat in the chair across from his desk. "I need to change my will," I told him. He leaned back. Folded his hands. "I see. What kind of changes?" "Everything goes to Paul and Bella right now." "Split down the middle." "That's right. I want to change it." He waited. "I want to leave a portion to a charity," I continued. "A program for young women. Something that helps them get back on their feet. The rest stays in my estate, but with conditions." Jonathan picked up a pen. "What kind of conditions?" "Paul doesn't get access until he's debt-free. I'll pay for a financial advisor, but not his lifestyle." "And Bella?" I paused. This was the hard part. "Bella gets nothing directly. Her share goes into a trust. She can access it when she's 25, and only if she's been employed continuously for at least 2 years." Jonathan wrote it down. Didn't judge. Didn't question. "These are significant changes, Nora. I know. Your family might contest it. Let them try." He looked at me over his glasses. "You're sure about this?" I thought about the torn $100 bill in my trash. The broken lamp. The word grandmother spat like a curse. "I've never been more sure of anything," I said. I got home at 2 p.m. The house was quiet, clean, mine. I made lunch, soup from a can, nothing special. But I ate it at my kitchen table, looking out at my garden, and it tasted like victory. At 3:15, the doorbell rang. I wasn't expecting anyone. I opened the door. Paul stood there, but not alone. Next to him was a woman I didn't recognize. Blonde, professional, carrying a briefcase. "Mom," Paul said. "This is Judith Chen. She's a family advocate." I stared at them. "A what?" The woman stepped forward. Smiled. The kind of smile that's practiced. "Mrs. Miller, I specialize in family conflict resolution. Your son contacted me about the recent difficulties. May we come in?" I didn't move. "You brought a stranger to my house," I said to Paul. Without asking. "We're worried about you," he said. "Who's we?" "Me. Lisa. Bella. Bella. Who called me a traitor 2 days ago." Judith stepped in smoothly. "Family conflicts often produce hurtful words. It doesn't mean I didn't invite you here," I said. Still in my doorway. Still not moving. "Mom, please." Paul's voice went soft. Pleading. The voice he used when he was a boy and wanted extra dessert. I'd always fallen for that voice. Not today. But I stepped aside anyway. Let them in. Sometimes you need to hear what people have to say. Even when you know you won't like it. They sat on my couch. The clean one. The one that still smelled faintly of beer despite my scrubbing. I sat in my armchair. Didn't offer tea. Judith opened her briefcase. "Mrs. Miller, I understand you've made some significant financial decisions recently." "How do you know that?" She glanced at Paul. "I called the bank," he said. "They told me I was removed from the account." "That's private information." "I was on the account, Mom. They notified me." "Of course they did." Judith leaned forward. "Nora, may I call you Nora? Sometimes when we're hurt, we make decisions we later regret. Decisions that damage family bonds." "My bonds were already damaged," I said. "By years of being taken for granted." "That's understandable. But removing your son from your finances, cutting off your granddaughter, these are extreme measures." "Are they?" She paused. "Your granddaughter is 19. She made a mistake." "Young people, she brought drugs into my home," I interrupted. "She lied to me. She violated my trust. Repeatedly. And now she's struggling," Judith said. "She's staying with a friend. Barely getting by. She needs her family. She needs consequences," I corrected. "I gave her a home. She turned it into a party. I gave her money. She spent it on things that hurt her. I gave her trust. She broke it." Paul shifted on the couch. "Mom, you're being dramatic." I looked at him. My son. 52 years old. Still waiting for me to fix things. "Tell me, Paul," I said quietly. "When you crashed your car at 21, who paid for it?" He went silent. "When you needed money for your wedding, who gave it? When your business failed, who covered your rent for 6 months? When Bella needed school supplies, clothes, food, who provided?" "You did," he said. Barely audible. "Yes, I did. And I never asked for a thank you. Never expected it. Because that's what family does, right?" He nodded. "But here's what I've learned," I continued. "Family also means respect. It means not assuming that because someone loves you, they owe you everything." Judith tried again. "Nora, no one is disputing your contributions. But your actions now, they could destroy these relationships permanently." I stood up. "I think you should leave," I said. Mrs. Miller, both of you. Now. Paul stood, his face red. You're making a mistake, Mom. Maybe, I said, but it's my mistake to make. For once. Judith closed her briefcase. Family is everything, she said at the door. Don't throw it away over pride. I looked at her. Pride is not the same as dignity, I said. And dignity is not negotiable. I closed the door, locked it, leaned against it. My heart pounded, but I didn't cry. I was done crying. That night, I walked through my house differently. I looked at everything, really looked. The furniture Derek and I had bought together. The books I'd collected over years. The photos on the walls. I stopped at one. Bella at age 7, missing 2 front teeth, holding a dandelion. She'd been so happy that summer. We both had. What happened to us? What happened to me? I took the photo down. Placed it in a drawer. Maybe one day I'd hang it again. But not today. At 11 p.m., my phone buzzed. A text. Unknown number. I opened it. Grandma, it's Bella. Using friend's phone. I'm staying with Lenny. Remember him? The one with the motorcycle. I know you hate me right now. But I'm okay. Just wanted you to know. Lenny. I remembered him. Tattoos. Older. Bad influence, Hall had called him once. And now she was staying with him. Because I'd closed my door. I stared at that text for a long time. Then I put the phone down. And walked upstairs. But I didn't sleep. Not for hours. She came back on a Thursday. No warning. No text. Just the sound of the front door opening at 10 p.m. I was in the kitchen. Making tea. The kettle whistling. I heard her before I saw her. Grandma, my hand froze over the stove. I turned off the burner. Walked into the living room. Bella stood in my doorway. Still had her key. I'd forgotten to change the locks. She looked terrible. Dark circles under her eyes. Hair unwashed. Wearing the same hoodie she'd left in. 3 days ago? 4? I'd lost count. What are you doing here? I asked. She stepped inside. Closed the door. I need to talk to you. It's late. Please. That word. Please. From her mouth. When was the last time? I sat in my armchair. Didn't offer the couch. She stayed standing. Lenny's place is bad, she said. I could have told you that. There are drugs there. All the time. People I don't know. I waited. I'm scared, Grandma. You should be. Her eyes went wet. But she blinked it back. I made a mistake. Coming here that night. Throwing that party. I know that now. Do you? Yes. Then why did you do it? She was quiet. I leaned forward. Why, Bella? Because I thought it wouldn't matter, she whispered. There it was. The truth. It wouldn't matter, I repeated. To whom? She didn't answer. To me, I said. It wouldn't matter to me. Because I'm just Grandma. Just the woman who cleans up. Who pays. Who forgives. Who disappears. That's not, yes. It is. She finally sat. On the couch. Pulled her knees to her chest. Like she was 5 again. But she wasn't 5. She was 19. Old enough to know better. I need money, she said. I almost laughed. Of course you do. Just enough for first month's rent. A deposit. There's this apartment, no. Grandma, I said no. Her face changed. That wounded look. The one that used to break me. You're really going to let me stay with Lenny? With those people? I'm not letting you do anything, I said. You're choosing. Every day, you're choosing. I don't have choices, you have plenty. You just don't like them. She stood up. Fast. Angry. "This is insane," she said. "You're my grandmother. You're supposed to help me. I did help you. For years. Where did it get us? So you're just giving up on me?" I looked at her. "I'm not giving up on you, Bella. I'm giving up on being used by you." She paced back and forth like a trapped animal. "Dad said you changed your will." So Paul had told her. Of course. I did. He said I don't get anything until I'm 25. And only if I have a job. That's right. That's not fair. Life isn't fair. Ask me how I know. She stopped pacing. Faced me. "You're punishing me." "No. I'm protecting myself." "From what?" "From you. From your father. From everyone who sees me as a bank account with legs." Her mouth fell open. "That's horrible." "Is it wrong?" She didn't answer. The silence stretched between us. I could hear the clock ticking. The refrigerator humming. My own heartbeat. Finally, she spoke. "Remember when I was 7?" she asked. "That summer I stayed here," I remembered. "Dandelions. Braids. Lemonade on the porch. We made cookies," she said. "You let me put too much sugar. They were terrible. But we ate them anyway. I remember. You said I could be anything. That you believed in me. I did believe in you. And now?" I looked at her. Really looked. Past the messy hair. Past the attitude. Past the lies. I saw the girl she'd been. The woman she could become. If someone stopped catching her every time she fell. "I still believe in you," I said quietly. "That's why I'm doing this." She laughed. Bitter. Sharp. "That makes no sense." "It will. One day." She moved toward the door. Then stopped. Turned back. "I could sell the story," she said. My blood went cold. "What about you?" "The grandmother who abandoned her granddaughter. Called the cops on her. Cut her off. Left her homeless. She was bluffing. Had to be. But her eyes. Hard. Desperate. People love stories like that," she continued. "The cruel grandmother. The struggling teen. I could go to the papers. Social media. Make you look." "Stop." "Why should I?" I stood up. My legs shook. But I stood. "Because if you do that," I said carefully, "you'll prove exactly what I feared. That you never saw me as a person. Only as a resource." She blinked. "And if you destroy me publicly," I went on, "you destroy any chance of us ever being family again." "Is that what you want?" She was crying now. Real tears. "I don't know what I want," she sobbed. "I don't know anything anymore." She sank to the floor. Right there in my hallway. And for a moment, I saw her. The real her. Lost. Scared. Angry at the world and herself. I wanted to go to her. Hold her. Tell her it would be okay. But I didn't. Because sometimes love means letting people fall. I walked to the kitchen. Poured 2 cups of tea. Brought one to her. She took it. Her hands shaking. We sat there. Her on the floor. Me in my chair. Drinking tea in silence. Finally, she spoke. "I don't know how to be without you catching me." "Then learn," I said. "How?" "One day at a time. One choice at a time." "What if I fail?" "You will. Everyone does. The question is what you do after." She wiped her face. Left mascara streaks on my floor. I didn't care. "Can I stay tonight?" she asked. "Just tonight. I'll leave in the morning." I should have said no. I should have held my boundary. But she looked so small. So broken. "One night," I said. "Guest room. Gone by 9 a.m. She nodded. "Thank you." "Don't thank me yet," I said. This changes nothing. The will stays. The money stays cut off. The boundaries stay. I know. Do you? She looked at me. I'm starting to. She went upstairs. I heard the shower running. I stayed in my chair, looking at the tea stain on my floor, wondering if I'd just made a mistake, or the first right choice in years. At midnight, I checked on her. She was asleep, curled up like a child. I closed the door softly, went to my own room, and lay awake until dawn. She left at 8:47 a.m., 13 minutes early. I stood at the kitchen window and watched her walk down my driveway. Same hoodie, same messy hair, but something in her posture had changed. Straighter, more deliberate. She didn't look back. I was grateful for that. The house settled into silence again. But this silence was different. Not empty, not heavy, just quiet. The kind of quiet you choose. I made breakfast. Eggs, toast, coffee. Ate slowly. Tasted every bite. When was the last time I'd done that? Really tasted my food? Really sat with myself without waiting for the next crisis. The next phone call, the next person who needed something. I couldn't remember. 3 weeks passed. The stain came out of the rug. Professional cleaning. Expensive. Worth it. I changed the locks. New keys. Just 2 of them now. One for me. One hidden under the pot of geraniums by the back door. The lawyer called. Will finalized. Everything signed. The bank confirmed. Paul removed. Automatic transfers stopped. Each action felt like a small exhale. Like setting down bags I'd been carrying so long I'd forgotten they weren't part of my body. Bella texted once. Got a job. Waitressing. Nothing fancy. But it's something. I stared at those words for a long time. Then I wrote back, that's good. Nothing more. Nothing less. November came. Cold mornings. Frost on the windows. I started walking again. Every day at 7 a.m. Around the neighborhood. Past the elementary school. Through the park where Derek and I used to sit on Sunday afternoons. I'd forgotten how much I loved mornings. The way the world smells before everyone wakes up. Clean. Possible. I'd spent so many years being available. Phone always on. Door always open. Ready to rescue, to fix, to smooth over. Now my phone stayed on silent. My door stayed locked. And I was learning to breathe again. The invitation came in early December. The Somerville Senior Center. They wanted speakers for their winter program. Women's voices, stories of strength. I almost threw it away. But something stopped me. That night, I sat at my kitchen table with a pen and paper. And I wrote. Not about Bella. Not directly. About all of us. All the women who'd spent their lives being the quiet ones. The steady ones. The ones who held everything together while falling apart inside. About boundaries. About dignity. About learning, at 70 years old, that you're allowed to say no. About the courage it takes to disappoint people you love. The talk was on a Wednesday. 15 women in a community room that smelled like coffee and hand lotion. I stood at the front. Hands shaking. Voice steady. My name is Nora Miller, I said. I'm 70 years old, and I'm finally learning how to live. They listened. Some nodded. Some wiped their eyes. Some sat perfectly still, like they were hearing their own stories in mine. When I finished, a woman in the front row raised her hand. Do you regret it? She asked. Setting those boundaries? Even when it hurt them? I thought about it. I regret that it took me so long, I said. But the boundaries themselves? No. Because for the first time in my life, I know where I end and everyone else begins. Christmas approached. I decorated my house. Just a little. Lights in the window. A small tree. For myself. Not for company. Not for family. For me. On December 23rd, a letter arrived. No return address. But I knew the handwriting. Bella. I made tea. Sat in my chair. Opened it slowly. Dear Grandma. I've written this letter 6 times. Thrown away 5. This is the one that's true. I'm sorry. Not the kind of sorry that means please forgive me so we can go back to how things were. Because how things were wasn't good. For either of us. I'm sorry I took you for granted. I'm sorry I saw you as someone who existed to catch me. I'm sorry I never asked how you were doing. What you needed. What you dreamed about. You were right. About all of it. I didn't see it then. I was too angry. Too scared. I'm still scared. But I'm also working. Every day. Double shifts sometimes. It's hard. My feet hurt. People are rude. But I'm doing it. I'm not asking for anything. Not money. Not your house. Not even forgiveness. Not yet. I haven't earned it. I just wanted you to know I'm trying. And I hope, one day, I can be someone you're proud of again. Love. Bella. I read it 3 times. Then I folded it carefully and put it in my drawer. Next to her photo. The one of her at 7, holding the dandelion. I didn't cry. But something in my chest loosened. Just a little. January brought snow. I shoveled my own driveway. Slowly. Carefully. It took an hour. But I did it myself. Paul called on the 15th. Mom, I've been thinking. I waited. I was wrong. To bring that advocate. To pressure you. I was scared. Not for you. For myself. For what it meant that you were finally standing up. Silence. I'm seeing a financial counselor, he said. Like you suggested. I'm trying to get my life in order. Without relying on you. That's good, Paul. I'm sorry, Mom. I know. We didn't say much else. But it was enough. February. Bella texted again. 3 months at the job. They promoted me to shift lead. I wrote back I'm proud of you. And I meant it. March came soft and early. I was in my garden. Turning soil. Getting ready for spring planting. I heard footsteps on the path. Looked up. Bella stood at my gate. Clean clothes. Hair brushed. Holding something. Hi, Grandma. Hello, Bella. She held up a box. White. From the bakery on Main Street. I brought cake, she said. Lemon. Your favorite. I stood up. Brushed dirt from my knees. I didn't invite you, I said carefully. I know. I should have called. I just. She trailed off. Can I come in? Just for coffee? I'll leave whenever you want. I looked at her. Not the girl from that night. Not the desperate person who'd threatened me. Not even the child I remembered. Someone new. Someone trying. 15 minutes, I said. She nodded. Thank you. We sat at my kitchen table. The same table where I'd written my first Declaration of Independence. She cut the cake. Poured coffee. Careful. Respectful. The apartment's small, she said. But it's mine. Paid for with my money. That matters. It does. She looked around my kitchen. I missed this place, she said softly. Not because of what you gave me. Because of you. I missed you. I sipped my coffee. I missed who we could have been, I said. If I'd set boundaries earlier. If you'd respected them. Can we be that now? I thought about it. Maybe. Slowly. Differently. I can do slowly, she said. We'll see. She left after exactly 15 minutes. At the door, she turned. Thank you for not giving up on me completely, she said. I never gave up on you, I answered. I gave up on enabling you. There's a difference. She nodded. I'm learning that. Good. She walked down the driveway. This time, she looked back. Once. Smiled. I raised my hand. She raised hers. Then she was gone. That night, I baked a cake. Not for anyone else. For myself. Lemon. My favorite. I ate a slice at my kitchen table, looking out at my garden. And I thought about all the years I'd spent baking for others. Giving away every piece until there was nothing left for me. No more. I'm 70 years old. My house is quiet. My accounts are secure. My will reflects my values, not my guilt. My granddaughter is learning to stand on her own feet. My son is learning to take responsibility for his life. And I am learning that love doesn't mean losing yourself. That boundaries aren't walls. They're doors. You choose who comes in. And when. That it's never too late to say I matter too. If you're listening to this story, maybe you see yourself in it. Maybe you're the grandmother who gives too much. The mother who never says no. The woman who's spent her life being convenient for everyone else. Maybe you're tired. Maybe you're scared. I understand. But I'm here to tell you you can change. At any age. Any stage. It won't be easy. People will be angry. They'll call you selfish. They'll say you've changed. You have changed. That's the point. So bake a cake. For yourself this time. Use the good china. Light a candle. Sit in your favorite chair. And taste every bite. You've earned it. Thank you for listening to my story. If it touched your heart, if you saw yourself or someone you love in these words, I'd be grateful if you'd subscribe to this channel. Hit that like button. Turn on notifications so you never miss a story. Not for numbers, not for algorithms, but because there are more stories to tell. More voices that need to be heard. More women who need to know they're not alone. Share this with someone who needs it. And remember, your boundaries are not selfish. They're sacred. Until next time, take care of yourself. You deserve it.